We're not. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's Thursday Talk It Out. We're looking at something many of us face, and that's meltdowns. So, this is not just about how to respond to them in the moment, but how to actually prevent them from happening in the first place. Because prevention saves us so much stress. So, a meltdown is often the body and the mind saying, I'm overwhelmed, I can't cope anymore. So for teenagers, children, and even young adults and adults, those feelings build up quietly and then spill over. So our goal is to notice the early signs and put strategies in place that lower their pressure before it bursts. First strategy, routine and predictability. Now, this doesn't need to be super rigid, but needs to have an air of predictability around it. So first to create that, whether it's a young child or a university student, knowing what's coming next can reduce anxiety. So for kids, a simple visual schedule can help. For teens or older young people, it might be using a planner or a calendar app so that they feel more in control. They know what's expected next and they can begin to prepare for that. So that predictability lowers the uncertainty, and uncertainty is one of the triggers very often, particularly in autistic young people and adults. That uncertainty is one of the big issues. And it's one of the things that is known to be very different than the neurotypical person's anxiety. So strategy 2 is learn how to spot those early warning signs. Super important. So it might be your child is getting fidgety, your teen's going quiet, your young adult withdraws and goes onto their phone. There'll often be little clues about that emotional load is getting really heavy for them. So when we notice this, we'll notice it early, and that allows us to step in, offer that break, offer a snack, offer some space just before the things tip over. So before it gets too much and the meltdown happens, it's beginning to notice what are your young person's cues, what can you see happening. If you go back over what has happened before when a meltdown has happened, let's know what has actually happened for them. So third strategy, number 3, sensory breaks and regulation. So build these into every day so it becomes like a bit of a lifestyle thing. So maybe there's a jumping on the trampoline that happens in the morning, squeezing that stress ball as you're maybe sitting on a bus, listening to those calming music. So for the older teens, it's maybe a quick walk outside with the headphones on, listening to whatever they love to listen to. That might be really loud, bouncy music, but it also might be really calm classical music. Who knows? I love to listen to a podcast rather than music. Everyone is different. Those small resets throughout the day help release tension. And it's when the tension piles up that you have the meltdown. So let's reduce that tension before we're getting into that loading and piling step. Okay, strategy number 4, choices and control. So this is the 4th thing, offer the choice. Offer this before the meltdown happens, because choice can be one of those things that adds a little bit of power back. But when somebody feels powerless, it can add to the loading of a meltdown. So for little children, it could be, do you want water or juice? For teenagers, you might be thinking about their homework and saying this needs to be done, but you're thinking, do you want to do it before dinner or after dinner? Give that choice, give that power back to them. For a young adult, it might be just respecting them and being available to them. Say, I'm here if you need me. You can come to me if you want to. It just allows them to have a little bit of control over the situation. And that control can reduce some of that piling and some of that layering that we feel that leads to that meltdown. And strategy number 5. Okay, so it's connection before correction. Remember to always connect with your young person so that they can feel understood, so the meltdown pressure begins to ease. Say, yeah, I get that. I feel like that too sometimes. This might mean sitting there quietly It might show that you notice what they're struggling with. It might be a gentle nod saying, yeah, I get that. Me too. Yep, I totally get that. It feels like that for us. Yep, I see that these are feeling really big. That connection, it tells the nervous system it's safe. This is another little tip to reduce some of that piling on that a young person's feeling. So just to recap, we've got preventing meltdowns by building predictability, spotting those early signs, using sensory breaks, offering choices, and leading with connection. It won't always be perfect. Don't expect everything to go right every time. It's unrealistic. It's not going to happen. But each step reduces the chances of overwhelm. And that allows us to think we're actually doing something towards reducing that meltdown, and the young person begins to understand. So I have a co-regulation tool. If you just, the way to get that for free is just simply sign up for a newsletter. You can cancel it afterwards if you really think this is not for me. But in there, you're going to get a code that will allow you to get it and bypass the cost. It's a little simple tip for today, and a little bit of a thank you for listening this far. So thank you for going and joining us today on Thursday Talk It Out. Let me know if you have any comments on which strategy you're going to try this week, and I'm going to put a link in underneath for you to come along and join us. Great to see you all today. Bye-bye.